So, I've been saying on here for a few days that in order to win games consistently, your stars have to be your stars. And, really, is there any star on the Buffalo Sabres brighter than known sniper Mattias Samuelsson? Didn't think so. Hey all, I'm Chris. This is the Sabercast, and oh boy, we got a lot to get to today, with the Sabres pulling off a 5-3 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs in the start of their home-and-home weekend series. And it was a strange one, actually, when you get into the numbers. This game was very odd in a lot of respects, but the Sabres did so many things well. So many things that we can be very, very happy about. So many things that we can take away positives from and hopefully carry with us through the rest of the year. But there were also some just aspects of this game that were weird. And so we'll touch on all those. We'll go through the game point by point. We'll talk about all the major moments and kind of how it went down. And we'll take a look at kind of overall final thoughts about the game. Who performed well, who didn't perform well, what we can take away from it overall. And we'll also be getting into kind of the injury and transaction news as we always do. Tyson Kozak left this game with an injury. But we've also had news about Michael Kesselring. We have UPL maybe coming back for his first start of the season. We've had news about Jacob Bryson. And in transaction news, there was some big news about Reddy Mertka as well. So we have a whole lot to get to. And not to mention, we also have to preview this evening's game against the Maple Leafs as well. So this is going to be a bit of a whale of a video, so I hope you'll stick with me throughout, and we'll have a good time. So let's get into it. We're going to rehash this game first and foremost. Try to go through it and talk about kind of the key moments and how it happened and what we can take away from it. So we'll start off here, right? The game started out kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't exactly quiet, but it wasn't exactly busy, but it took a long time for both teams to generate any kind of shot. And both teams seemed to be going up and down the ice, but nobody really seemed to be able to control the puck so much. The Leafs looked faster, I'd say, in the early going, but the Sabres were doing a pretty good job, even in the early going, of finding ways to get pucks in deep, get pucks through the neutral zone. But I don't think anybody had the first goal coming when 4:38 into the game, Mattias Samuelsson gets a really nice pass across from McLeod, and he buries it past Stollarts to give the Sabres the 1-0 lead. This opening goal was really made possible by Alex Tuch. Alex Tuch went kind of into the half wall, and he was able to fight off two Maple Leaf defenders and then got it along to McLeod, and then McLeod was able to make a really nice cross-ice pass to the opposite circle to find an open Samuelsson, and then Samuelsson was able to just fire it past Stollarts, and it's just like that. It's a 1-0 game, and, anytime Mattias Samuelsson scores, that's kind of an energy boost because it's not a goal you really expect to have. Unfortunately for the Sabres, it wouldn't last very long, as less than 30 seconds later, William Nylander would get a breakaway on a flip out of the zone and bury it past Alex Lyon. Not really Lyon's fault. He got a piece of it, but it just snuck through him. The reason that William Nylander was so wide open was that this is the moment Tyson Kozak was injured. So Kozak slowly going to the bench, and because he took so long to get to the bench, there was a quick possession change off a shot and a save by Stollarts, and the Leafs turned it around right away, and Nylander was up ice before Kozak could get to the bench, before the replacement could come on, and that was it. Now, I don't think it's really on any Sabres at all. I think this is just an unfortunate situation. Bowen Byram was making an attack, so he was deep in the zone. There was no really defense back at the time, as on the other side, Dahlin had pinched as well. You really don't want to see a situation where both D-men are pinching at the same time, or you really don't want to see a play where both defensemen are behind the net, behind the offensive net at the same time. Dahlin probably should have tried to stay back there, but I don't think it really would have mattered because the key aspect to this play was that the Sabres only had 4 men on the ice, and then both defensemen were behind the attacking goal. So just kind of a worst of all worlds situation, and it evens the game up at 1. But the Sabres not done in the period, as well. A minute later, and this was a passing play for the ages, as the Sabres are able to get it up ice fairly quickly. Metsa, a really good outlet pass to Tage Thompson. Thompson, quick pass across to Benson, and then just a slap pass across to Kulich, and Kulich is able to put it past Stolleritz to give Buffalo the 2-1 lead yet again. Just a beautiful passing play across the board. First of all, credit goes to, actually, it's the whole team. So Samuelsson takes a hit to get it to Metsa. Metsa, a really nice pass up to Thompson. Thompson finds Benson cross ice, and then Benson able to shove it along to Kulich, who then makes a really nice finish on the play. A nice example of all 5 players working together as one. So this made it 2-1 Buffalo. And then, sometimes your stars are your stars, and that was the case on the power play for Toronto. 12:45 gone in the first period. They get the power play, and it's really tough to deal with, but Auston Matthews camped out at a sharp angle, fires it into the back of the net. Not much anyone could do about it. You could say they could have some wider coverage, like maybe Timmins could have gotten wider, or maybe McLeod could have gotten wider, because they kind of let Matthews go through the zone, but Timmins was very focused on getting out there to block a shot, and Matthews just ended up open in the circle. You're shorthanded. One guy has to cover 2 guys. Timmins made a choice to cover the man who had perhaps the better chance in the high slot, and Matthews had that sharp angle chance, and he was just able to bury it. Sometimes their best are just better than your best, and that was a case, I think, on that goal. But the Sabres were able to figure things out in the second period and kind of take control of this game on the scoreboard, as Tage Thompson was able to pick up his second goal of the year. 7:20 gone in the period. Another situation where the Sabres are able to hit center ice quickly. Thompson left it, a kind of a give and go for Byram, as so Kulich, a nice cross ice pass onto Thompson. Thompson able to leave it to Byram, and then Byram across to Thompson, who finally finds his finishing touch to put the Sabres back in front. Just a nice passing play. They're able to work it out of the zone. They're able to actually hit on one of these long cross ice passes, and they go to work from there. That is where they're the most dangerous. That's the type of style Lindy Ruff wants to play offensively, and they were actually able to execute it tonight, which was really, really nice to see. And then the next goal comes 6 minutes later, 13:10 gone in the second period. Krebs from the corner is able to lean it back. Dahlin, a beautiful one-time cross-ice pass to Samuelsson, and then he makes no mistake, beats Stolleritz. And I tell you, this was just Rasmus Dahlin doing something awesome. Krebs gives it to him, and then just that cross-ice pass, very, very nice. And Samuelsson makes no mistake, because he is a noted sniper, apparently. So that would be where it left. That would be where the period was left, 4-2. And then in the third period, very early on, first 2 minutes, Sabres have a tendency to give up these early goals in the third period when they have a lead. Play in front kind of got a bad rebound or bad deflection, and it ended up on the stick of Dakota Joshua, and he would make the game 4-3. And from that point on, I thought the Sabres did a fair job of really... They never really generated so much offense from there, but they also kept the Maple Leafs from really creating a big comeback attempt. The Sabres did a beautiful job this game of getting the puck up ice, getting the puck across the red line, and getting the puck deep. It's the first game really I've seen this year where they have consistently been able to get the puck into the neutral zone and then get the puck deep into the defensive end and force the other team to go the whole length of the ice in order to generate some chance. That was, I think, the number one thing that the Sabres could execute in this game that they had not been able to execute before. They made it harder on the Maple Leafs to get chances. They made them have to come the full length of the ice almost every time. There were no really bad turnovers. And the Sabres consistently could generate chances and could generate zone time because they were finding a way to break the puck out, get it at least across the red line, and then making Toronto come the full length of the ice back down, which also makes the team tired when they have to do that. The icing on the cake in this game was the Alex Tuch shorthanded goal. Now, Rasmus Dahlin took a pretty bad penalty with his delay of game shooting it out of the zone. Like, that's not something you really want to see, but the Sabres did a really nice job battling, killing it off, and the best penalty killer sometimes has to be your goaltender, and on that particular kill, Alex Lyon made an absolutely fantastic save, and then coming off of that, an interception by Owen Power leads to a 2-on-1 chance, which Alex Tuch is able to bury past Stolleritz to give the Sabres a 5-3 lead and ultimately a 5-3 win. You can't really say much more than that. I mean, this was a beautiful, beautiful win for the Sabres in a lot of respects, primarily because of what I said. They were able to work pucks deep. They were able to play smart in the neutral zone, and they were able to give a consistent effort throughout all three periods. How many times this year have we seen a period or two where the Sabres get absolutely blasted on the shot or possession or some particular statistic where the Sabres just don't show up? But in this game, they had 12 shots in the first, 9 in the second, 9 in the third, to Toronto's 9 in the first, 11 in the second, 14 in the third. Over the course of the game, Toronto did generate more chances, but Buffalo was also able to generate kind of an equal number of chances back at them. The areas where the Sabres struggled, I would say, and the other area where the Sabres absolutely excelled tonight was the block shots. I was kind of bemused watching the ESPN coverage because ESPN was talking about all the great work Toronto was doing blocking shots. The block shot total was a 21 for the Sabres and 13 for Toronto. So all that talk and hype about how great the Leafs were doing blocking shots, they didn't say a word about how great the Sabres were blocking shots, but the Sabres ended up with 21 blocked shots. And Mattias Samuelsson, the noted sniper, came up with 4 of those blocks. Dahlin had 2, Malenstein had 2, Alex Tuch had 4, Byram had 2, Kulich had 2, Timmins and Benson both had 1, and Owen Power had 1. So, just an absolutely outstanding job and a team effort as well by all of the Sabres getting down, blocking shots, making things happen on the penalty kill. The other thing the Sabres did extremely well in this game was they didn't give the puck away. They only had 13 giveaways to Toronto's 18, and miracle of miracles, Rasmus Dahlin did not have a giveaway tonight. The first game of the year where he has not had a giveaway. And Tage Thompson did not have a giveaway. So the Stars were good with the puck tonight. Jiri Kulich had 3 giveaways, but we'll forgive him because he had a goal, an assist, and was +3 overall. He was also the only Sabre to He was also the only center for the Sabres. He was also one of the only Sabres to win the majority of his faceoffs. He was 9-for-16 in the faceoff circle. Faceoffs were not an area that was kind to the Sabres, but we never really expect them to be. But in this game, the Sabres won 25 of 60 faceoffs, and the worst offender was, yeah, you guessed it, Ryan McLeod, who was 5-for-22 in the faceoff circle. That's a 23% clip, folks. So it's pretty clear that the Sabres are not going to be a good faceoff team this year. And I don't know if we have to care if they can continue to give performances like this, but we have to acknowledge it's always going to put us at a disadvantage in terms of possession. It's always going to tilt the ice against us, and you can't do what we did and be two of 8 shorthanded. That's a surefire way to get yourself scored against when it comes to killing penalties. So they have to find a way to be better on faceoffs in certain situations. It's not a big deal if you lose the majority, but in certain situations, you'd like to see the team be better overall. And the other, and I will say, I have to say this because I've been so hard on them, the Stars for the Sabres were finally the Stars. I made that joke about Samuelsson at the start of the video, but in all honesty, Tage Thompson had a really nice goal and a really nice assist to start the play. He was +3 tonight. He had 5 shots, and he had 4 shots that were blocked. He had 2 takeaways, as I said before. That was a good game from Tage Thompson. He was involved. He had a lot of good chances. Rasmus Dahlin had an assist. I still don't think it was his best game, but he didn't turn the puck over. He blocked 2 shots. He was much more in control of the game tonight. You didn't notice him, making himself be everywhere. So I think we can be. That's a more typical, I think, Dahlin performance. The 2 penalties can't really happen. That was a little disappointing, but penalties happen sometimes when you're playing hard. So we can overlook that as long as it doesn't become a thing. And the other star is Alex Tuch, and Alex Tuch was outstanding. He had a goal and an assist, obviously the shorthanded goal. He had 4 blocks, and he had a hit, and he was fantastic on the penalty kill as always. He played 3 minutes, 25 seconds on the penalty kill and was fantastic. So as far as the, quote, big 3 on this team of Dahlin, Thompson, and Tuch, that was a very good showing. And against a team like Toronto that has a lot of stars, and whose stars did show up tonight, as Matthews had a goal and Nylander had a goal, you had to match them in terms of star power, and the Sabres did that. So very nice performance by the Stars. I have been hard on them, so I have to give them a lot of credit tonight, in all fairness. Another Sabre who, again, I continue to say is flying under the radar is Connor Timmins. Timmins was almost the leader in ice time tonight. He missed out on that prize by 1 second. He played 23 minutes, 37 seconds tonight. Mattias Samuelsson played 23 minutes, 38 seconds. He had the lead in terms of ice time in this game tonight. It's really interesting what the Sabres are doing with their defensemen. So the Sabres are basically playing 5 defensemen and then putting Metsä out there when someone is tired, basically. Zach Benson, the 6th defenseman, only played 9 minutes and 41 seconds tonight. Every other defenseman was over 20 minutes of ice time. So you have to hope, and guys are coming back. We'll get to that in a little bit, but you have to hope you're not going to be wearing those guys out too much. And I think we might be in a little bit of danger looking at tomorrow night if, this is going to be the 5th game in 7 days, and the defensemen have been playing a lot. So hopefully they have a little bit in their tank for the game tomorrow. The one other point I want to talk about as far as this game was the 5-on-3 power play there at the start. There in the first, was that in the first period? Yeah, it was the 5-on-3. The other thing I have to talk about was that 5-on-3 power play right after the Leafs scored the second goal. So this 5-on-3 power play was basically for a minute 54 or a minute 57 seconds. It was basically a full 5-on-3 power play, right? And the Sabres have, all credit to the way the power play is done so far this year, but I felt this power play was exceptionally disappointing because Dahlin and Thompson are obviously 2 of the best scorers on this team, 2 of the best players on this team. But when you're on a 5-on-3 situation, everybody in the world knows it's either going to be Thompson or Dahlin shooting. And they did not do enough to make the Leafs think anybody else was going to shoot. The Sabres, I think, are really effective on the power play when they play some 3-man games in the high slot or at the point, right? They bring some traffic. They bring a third guy up to the point, and they bring some traffic. They bring some movement up there, but they didn't do it for whatever reason on this power play, probably because they wanted to keep their alignment balanced up front. But what I honestly would have done is I would have liked to have seen another one of the forwards come back and then play a game and make it tough to let the defense know who's going to have the puck. The other thing you would have to do is occasionally outlet it to the other side of the ice so that they have to respect that side of the ice too. It's the only way that Dahlin and Thompson are going to get chances through on a power play situation like that. If it's just them playing hot potato and someone deciding to shoot it, the power play in that situation is going to continue to struggle. It's the reason why the first unit has really struggled and the second unit has been really successful. On the second unit, nobody knows at a given time where the thrust is going to come from. But on the first unit, it's going to be Dahlin or Thompson. It's much, much easier as a penalty killing unit if you know where the shots are going to be coming from, because you can kind of cheat a little bit and set your alignment up in that way. So the Sabres' first power play unit is going to have to address it at some point and figure out another angle of attack. Now, that's going to be on the players more so than the coaches to figure that out. The coaches can tell them, but the players ultimately have to make that change in their game. And that's going to require Thompson and Dahlin to be a little bit more charitable with the puck in terms of allowing other guys on that unit to have chances. Like, find a way to get Benson involved, find a way to get the other defenseman involved, have a bit of a cycle and rotation going. Like, you got to disguise Thompson getting into that circle. Everyone knows that's going to be his office. That's where he wants to shoot from. But, he can't just hang out there. You can't just have him and Dahlin playing games. The Capitals do something very similar on their power play, because that Ovechkin is going to stand in the circle and now he's old, so he literally just stands in that circle. But they have enough juice on the other side of that power play that defenses have to respect it, and so they can't just focus only on Ovechkin in that circle. So what the Sabres have to do is figure out a way for the other three guys on that unit to pose enough of a threat that some attention gets drawn away from Dahlin and Thompson. Until then, that top group is going to struggle. The second power play group has been very, very good, and I'm a little disappointed they didn't get a chance to get out there. Of course, when you have total zone time, it doesn't make sense to, change. You're not going to be able to change your guys, as the Sabres did. But I think the second unit actually would have had a better chance of scoring on a 5-on-3 than the top unit, just due to the fact that everyone knows where the shots are coming from when the top unit's out there. So I'd like to see the top unit mix it up a little bit more. That's more of a structural complaint than it is about any individual player, but just how I was feeling watching that particular power play go to work. And the other thing I'm going to say here is Alex Lyon is absolutely amazing. He made so many saves down the stretch. Obviously, the save on the Leafs power play, which would eventually shift the momentum and let Tuch get that goal. Alex Lyon is the reason that this game stayed with the Sabres, and it's the reason this game did not go to overtime. So he was able to deny the Leafs at least a point by that save, and then just an absolutely outstanding job. And I'm happy that the Leafs got to 30 shots on goal so that he could keep another game with a 90% save percentage. So just really outstanding performance as always by Alex Lyon. He has really taken that starting goaltending job by the throat, and he is probably the number one reason for this little run that the Sabres are on right now. So those are my thoughts watching this game. It was a really interesting one to watch. The numbers, when I finally looked at the numbers after the game, I was a little surprised to see the hits. Toronto out-hit Buffalo 30-8. Like, the Sabres were not physical so much in this game, but, they were a different kind of physical. It's one thing to lay the hits. It's another to take the hits and not get thrown off your game. And so the Sabres were physically resilient and mentally resilient, and they were not thrown off their game plan. They were able to continue to get pucks in deep. They were continuing to get the puck into the neutral zone. They were paying the price to do it, but they paid that price, and that is why they won this game 5-3, and that is why they are now in third place in the Atlantic Division through 8 games. So just really wonderful performance by the Sabres. I don't have too much else to say about this game. I was very impressed. I was very happy. Look, I think the Leafs are definitely the better team. But the Sabres had a plan. They played up to their plan, and they got it done. And so very, very proud of that team. Very, very proud of that effort that they gave. It's going to be very tough now going into Toronto tomorrow. The Leafs figure to be a desperate team, and they're going to have last change, so they'll be able to create some more matchup issues. So I think it could be a big ask for the Sabres to go in there and come out with a win, but this team so far has done a lot of things that people thought they couldn't do already. So never going to say never. So that's this game. I want to get on now and talk about the injuries and the transactions and the other pieces of news, because there is quite a bit, right? The big news, obviously, Tyson Kozak was injured his third shift, and that is the shift in which William Nylander scored the goal. So Kozak is definitely, so it's been announced that Kozak will definitely not play in the Leafs game, and it does seem as if a forward is going to come up from Rochester for this game. I have no idea who it is, but you would assume it's going to be a center, given that Kozak's a center, and we need more centers up here. You could give Anton Wahlberg a shot. You could give Konsta Helenius a shot. There's a lot of guys you could call up who are centers who you could give a shot to. I'm not going to really speculate on who it is. No one would surprise me, but I think Anton Wahlberg may fit the best when you're looking at a fourth-line player. I mean, in my mind, if I'm thinking about a replacement, I'm thinking it's either going to be Anton Wahlberg or Josh Dunn, because it's a fourth-line role. If it was a higher role in the lineup, I could see Konsta Helenius as well, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be Dunn. He's a known quantity. Anton Wahlberg has the body to take on that fourth-line role, and he kind of leaned into it very, very well in the preseason. So I would think those are possible moves that they could make. Nothing's been announced yet as far as transactions, but someone is coming up from Rochester. It'll be interesting to see how the Sabres go with their lineup for this game now with Kozak on the bench. It's a big loss. Kozak's a big energy guy, and Ruff was feeling comfortable playing him pretty much anywhere at that point because he had contributed so much in the early going this year. Other injury news, we have Jacob Bryson. He participated in the morning skate heading into Friday's game. I don't know, he may still be in the protocol, but he's participating in skate, so he can't be too far away, you would figure. Michael Kesselring joined the morning skate on Friday as well, and it sounds very positive that he may enter the lineup in the next week against Columbus or against Boston. We may well see Michael Kesselring back, and that would be a really, really big victory for the Sabres. Of course, UPL is going to, in all likelihood, get the start in Toronto, his first start of the year. Fingers crossed, everyone, that he does play well and he doesn't get housed. It is a possibility that we have to consider, but I'm going to choose to stay positive and say that he's going to play well. There have been no updates regarding Greenway, regarding Norris, regarding Danforth. Everything is still where it is with those players. But unless we keep getting these injuries every game, the Sabres are getting healthier. The other big transaction news in the organization today is that Radim Mertka was assigned to the WHL Seattle Thunderbirds on Friday. Mertka had played 4 games with Rochester, had 1 assist. He honestly wasn't having much impact offensively whatsoever. He was doing a lot of good things defensively. He had a fight as well. But I think the Sabres probably want to see him more in a top pairing role, getting a lot of minutes and having the chance to play more offensively and kind of have a chance to work on his skating a bit more, because that is really the number one thing that they have talked about him needing to work on, is his skating as well as his overall awareness. It's tough to work on skating and awareness when you're constantly being challenged physically by a lot of guys. So these are kind of technical skills he needs to work on. So Mertka is off to Seattle, where he will play for the Thunderbirds. Though we will probably see him back, assuming the Amerks can make the postseason, or even if Buffalo can make the postseason, he could be in addition to maybe either roster, depending on where the need is greatest. So best wishes to him. Hopefully he performs well out there in Seattle. We will keep an eye on him on this channel as a part of the Down on the Farm series. I'll be keeping an eye on the Thunderbirds now as well. So every week, that comes out pretty much every Monday. I have a Down on the Farm video released. Unless there's Sabres games happening, then I push it to another day. But that Down on the Farm series covers everything from Jacksonville in the ECHL, Rochester in the AHL, and I will also be touching on Radim Mertka in Seattle for the WHL as well, now that he's been assigned there. So keep an eye out for that. But again, there was a lot of debate. We had debate here. There have been a lot of talking heads debating about whether this is the right decision. I've been very firm that I do think it's the right decision for him to go get top minutes in Seattle. But I understand the side that says you want him playing against grown men in the AHL. At the very least, I think they found a good balance. He got the chance to go play against grown men in the AHL. He now clearly knows what he has to work on. I'm sure the organization has given him a checklist of things he has to work on. And now he can go to Seattle and really excel, be the guy, be the leader, and so he can work on his leadership skills. And he also has the checklist of things he needs to work on for when he comes back next year and can hopefully take the AHL or the NHL by storm. So hopefully it goes well for him out there in Seattle. All the best wishes to him. And I'm looking forward to the day he is back in an Amherst or Sabres jersey, hopefully come playoff time. The Sabres and the Leafs were the only teams in action in the Atlantic Division yesterday. So that means that the current standings are as follows. Tampa Bay is at the bottom in 8th place with 4 points through 7 games. Boston is in 7th with 6 points through 9 games. Ottawa is in 6th with 7 points through 8 games. Toronto is in 5th with the same record, 7 points through 8 games. Florida is in 4th with 8 points through 9 games. And pinch yourself, this is real. The Sabres are in 3rd with 8 points from 8 games. Detroit is in 2nd with 10 points from 8 games. And Montreal is in 1st with 12 points through 9 games. Fun fact, the Sabres are one of only 2 teams in the division with a positive goal differential now, Montreal being the other with a +5. The Sabres are currently sitting with a +1 goal differential. So, hey, that's pretty good. It helps a lot that the Atlantic Division has been very not so great out of the gate this year. But the Sabres are now going to be heading on the road, and the road has not been a kind place for the Buffalo Sabres over the last year and the start of this year. Last year, the Sabres went 13-24-4 on the road. They were actually at home. They were 23-15-3, so they had a winning record at home and a very, very bad losing record on the road. This year so far, they've gotten off to an 0-2 start. And that's just because the Sabres' overall lack of depth is exploited on the road because of the whole fact that that the home team gets last change. They can match up however they want with whoever the road team puts on the ice. When you have a deeper team, that doesn't matter as much because you have guys who can fill in multiple roles. But when you have a team like the Sabres, which is very thin at a lot of positions, teams can really take advantage of you. And I expect the Leafs to try to do that. Also, the Sabres have played, again, this will be their 5th game in 7 days. They're going to be tired. There's no way around it. They're going to be tired. But that does not mean that they're not going to show up and play a good game. They can absolutely do that. They will be doing that against the Toronto Maple Leafs backup goaltender, Cayden Primeau. For his career, and he's basically until this season been a career backup with the Montreal Canadiens, for his career, he has a... Wow. It's not great. For his career, he's played in 56 games. He has 14 wins, 2 shutouts, goals against of 3.7, and a save percentage of .884. And this season, he has 1 win in 1 game, goals against of 4, and an 8.867 save percentage. He is a guy that the Sabres can definitely score on. The difficulty for the Sabres is they're also going to have a wild card in net with UPL getting the start in all likelihood. So this is a game where we really don't know what's going to happen. The Sabres may well be tired, but they will have a chance to score goals with Primeau in the net on the other side. So the hope here is that Buffalo can kind of take advantage of the goaltending situation. They're still going to have to show up. They're still going to have to play hard. I think when you're tired, it's more important than ever to simplify. Focus on getting the puck into the neutral zone. Focus on getting the puck deep. Do exactly what we tried to do today, but you're going to have to be even more cautious because more likely than not, you're going to be at a matchup disadvantage most of the time as well. So unless it's clearly there, don't make the risky play. Make the simple play, make the smart play, and just try to get into a battle with them. Try to make them make mistakes. Try to take advantage of their mistakes. And honestly, we get this thing to overtime, that's a win because we'll have gotten 3 points out of 2 games, and the Leafs will have gotten so at worst, if we get it to overtime, we'll have picked up a point on the Leafs, and we'll have gotten 3 points out of 4 points in this home and home. Ideally, we win. And if we lose, though, it's not the end of the world either, because then we just would have split with the Leafs in this home and home. So the good thing for the Sabres is they're playing with house money in this game because they have a winning record in this 6-game Atlantic Division stretch, and they've already won the first game, so losing this next game to Toronto would not really hurt them in terms of losing ground with Toronto. But the Sabres are in a position now where they can go above 500, where they can really, really put themselves in a good position, especially with next week with Columbus and Boston, 2 you would think winnable games. Sabres have potential here to go on a little bit of a run, and obviously you'd like to see them take advantage of that. But this is going to be a tough game. They're going to be tired. Their legs are going to be heavy, so they got to keep it simple. And if they keep it simple, and they stick to their game plan, and they stand up for each other as they've been doing, I like their chances to make it at least an interesting game. So we will have that for you. We're finally back with a live reaction stream this evening for Sabres Leafs. That will be starting right around face-off, right around 5 o'clock. I'll try to get on a little bit before, get things revved up. But I typically show up right on time, but I'll try to get in a little bit early. I look forward around 4:55, 5 o'clock. So I'm really looking forward to seeing y'all. It's been a little bit of time since we've been able to interact live. So, yeah, see you then. So thank y'all for watching this video, this recap of the Sabres win of the first game of this home and home series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you have thoughts about this game, thoughts about Radim Mertka, thoughts about the injuries situation, thoughts about guys coming back, if you have any thoughts whatsoever, please feel free to leave them down below. We can talk about it down there. So thanks for watching. Oh, and also, yeah, if you want to subscribe, and also if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, join our little community, we'd be happy to have you. So feel free to click that button and sign up, if you will. So thank you all so much for watching. As always, go Sabres. Bye-bye.